coming up next, as you just saw, Peanut Butter and Biscuits. That's Craig and Jeremy. I've got to admit, when I saw the name of their podcast, I was so jealous because it is so absolutely brilliant. So let's go ahead and get Craig and Jeremy up on stage. They're going to be sharing their favorite Tedisms. We all have them, but they're going to pick just the top 5. So we're really looking forward to it. Let's roll the video.
The happiest animal on earth is? It's a goldfish. You know why?
No.
It's got a 10-second memory. Be a goldfish, Sam. Be curious, not judgmental. I like that. I'll start bringing these to you every morning. Call it Biscuits with the Boss. You know what you do with tough cookies, don't you? No. Dip them in milk. For me, success is not about the wins and losses. It's about helping these young fellas be the best versions of themselves on and off the field. And those things come into our lives to help us get from one place to a better one. And I want you to be grateful that you're going through this sad moment with all these other folks. Because I promise you, there is something worse out there than being sad, and that is being alone and being sad. And Ron, communism is all about believing that everything's going to work out in the end. You know how they say that youth is wasted on the young? Well, I say don't let the wisdom of age be wasted on you. But taking on a challenge is a lot like riding a horse, isn't it? If you're comfortable while you're doing it, probably doing it wrong. See, I believe in hope. I believe in belief.
Well, hello, everybody. I think that you can hear me out there, but I'm not 100% certain. I will say that you are going to be seeing Jeremy here in just a second. Hopefully his computer decides to allow him to be on this, but I am one half of Peanut Butter and Biscuits, so we will get started with this. So I do want to let you know that we are a podcast. We are actually partnered up with NPR Illinois as well. Jeremy and I have been podcasting for about 7 years, and then we fell in love with a little show named Ted Lasso, and we decided that we wanted to talk about all things Ted Lasso. We actually came into this on the 2nd season of the show, which was really fun. And so we got to do a lot of the recap episodes and talk about the episodes as we went along. And so we started this segment called Tedisms, where every week we would break down the best Tedisms that we had from the show. And so now you got to understand here that generally we go ahead and pick out like 5 to 10 Tedisms per week. But now we have to do just 5 for the whole series. So don't get mad at us. You might have seen some of them in that beautiful clip that was just played, which was great. But I am actually going to go ahead and start moving forward with this because I'm not sure where my buddy Jeremy is at. Hopefully we can get him back up and running, but I am just going to go ahead and move forward. So when we're picking out these Tedisms, what did we want to do? We wanted to make sure that, for one, they were kind of funny, right? Because Ted is kind of funny. I love his dad jokes, especially being the father of a 6-year-old. I love that. And we wanted to make sure that we provided some kind of levity as well when we're picking these out. Then also, we wanted to be philosophical when it comes to Ted, because of course, we know that Ted is pretty philosophical in his life. And then finally, we wanted to make sure that we left some good life advice because every now and then now I have a brand new peanut butter that the cap is open on. So that way, whenever I want some, I can just, I can have a little peanut butter when I need it. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to actually read through some of the Tedisms. I will tell you, unfortunately, it looks like Jeremy's having some grief getting on. I will mention that he had this all queued up with videos and all of that. Oh my goodness. Jeremy, you're coming to us from your phone.
From my phone, guys. All of a sudden, nothing was working. I don't know
That's
why.
okay. You know what? It's okay that you're on your phone. I think what we're going to do, Jer, is we're just going to go with reading some of these off and commenting as we go along, and then we'll see how that works out for us. So, but I'm going to go ahead and start us off with number 5 as we look at our top 5 Tedisms from the show. And you know what? This is one where I really wanted to make sure we included the pilot episode of the show, because I thought that that would be really important to us to make sure that we get the pilot represented in there. And there are so many Tedisms that come from the pilot, but one that isn't recognized as much is the one where Ted and Coach Beard are on the plane, and Ted says, "Are we nuts for doing this?" Coach Beard said, "Coach, I owe you a lot, but I follow you anywhere, but this is going to be a challenge." And then Ted says, "Yeah, but hey, taking on a challenge is a lot like riding a horse. If you feel comfortable when you're doing it, you're wrong. When you're doing it wrong, or you have to have a high natural set of testicles as well." And then he says, night, coach. I love this particular Tedism because it's setting up where we're going to go in the series. We're going to have trials and tribulations. A lot of people have said this is a show that started off as a half-hour comedy and turned into a 45-minute drama. And this is where they're laying the groundwork for that. This is going to be kind of a rough ride, but we're also going to have a lot of fun as we go along. Jared, are you hearing us and all that now? Do you want to comment on that first Tedism?
You're right. I absolutely love this Tedism. You're right, because we did want to get that pilot episode because so much of the charm of this show relies on hitting the ground running, and we have to immediately like Ted, and we have to immediately understand how his idioms inform what he is as a person. And so Dr. Sharon gets to really kind of extrapolate this in season 2 without that's kind of a defense mechanism of his. But it also, you're right, gives us this belief that what he's doing, yes, it's crazy, but he totally believes in himself. And he totally thinks that they can do what they're about to do, which is kind of insane. But we always joked on the show, what if this was the reverse? What if they brought what we in America call soccer coach over to coach American football? And we wonder if it would be as crazy as it seems there. But this quote just always, again, it just introduces you perfectly to Ted Lasso's mindset and how he's going to be the entire run of the show.
And as we mentioned, we are also going to bring you a little bit of philosophy, a little bit of life lessons as well. So I'm going to go ahead and read number 4 to you. And that is the speech that we are all come to love, where he said, "I promise you, there is something worse out there than being sad, and that's being sad and alone. And there ain't no one in this room that's alone." And again, this is another example of the coach really imparting some wise wisdom to the team. They just went to relegation, and we know that they're going to have a lot of trials and tribulations in front of them. But still, he's saying we are together as a team, and that is what matters. Now, we see a lot in that first season that the team is completely separated. We even have lots of times where you see the kind of Roy Kent side of the team and the Jamie Tart side of the team. But he knows that by the end of that season, they have all really started to gel. And even in the second season, we're going to get Jamie Tart to come and gel with that team as well. And it's going to make for a family type atmosphere moving forward. Right, Jer?
Absolutely. And you're right. The ending of season 1 is so stark in my mind every time I see it, not only because I am a Broadway freak, so I recognized "You'll Never Walk Alone" as the final song there. And of course, Marcus Mumford's version of it is just so gorgeous. But this is, again, a kind of payoff of Ted's philosophy of coaching that he tells Trent Krim in episode 3, which is that it's not really about the wins and losses for him, but making it so that these men, he says young men, that are the best versions of themselves. And so it is amazing to me that you can have such a crushing defeat like that, especially at the hands of Jamie Tart at the end of season 1. Even worse to have it come at his hands. But that you can get back in that locker room and Ted can once again just tell these guys that, the fact that this is here, the fact that we lost is terrible, but we are all together. And you're right. When you extrapolate that out to season 2 and how now everybody's broken up, very Empire Strikes Back, it is a jarring quote, and it still is a jarring moment at the end of season 2. And again, because of Marcus Mumford's amazing version of "You'll Never Walk Alone" there.
Absolutely. Now, I just saw in the chat that Chris, this was his favorite Tedism. So what I'm going to do is pretend like I'm walking this next one. That way, Chris gets the feeling just like he's walking along with us here. So we wanted to make sure that we also did something that was a little bit fun and a little bit funny for you in these Tedisms. So number 3 comes from season 2, and it's, "I love meeting people's moms. I love meeting people's moms. It's like reading an instruction manual to why they're nuts." And this is, not only is this so accurate, but it is absolutely perfect for the character. And then, of course, what does Coach Beard follow that up with?
Let's go!
Yeah, it's just so great that I love the energy that this brings. I love everything about this particular quote because it is hilarious, but also true at the same point. So we all saw that, and we all just started those belly laughs that sometimes Ted Lasso brings to us, right?
Oh yeah, this one's great too because it sort of comes out of nowhere. Because we get this really fun moment of meeting Rebecca's mom through the window and her giving the great line about if life gives you lemons, make lemon mojitos or something like that. Which of course is always a better option, guys. But it just comes out of nowhere here, and you're right. Like the truth behind it is so fantastic, and the fact that Coach Beard then just gives this primal "let's go" yell, and then admits that his mom is full blown QAnon at the moment is just another wonderful thing there. And I just absolutely love that he Ted's reaction to that is just like, yep, that's right. So I want a backstory on Beard is what I want. I want some more of Beard's origin story.
We need that because, on that plane ride in the first Tedism we just mentioned, he says to Ted, I owe you so much. So I'm going to drop everything I'm doing here and I'm going to fly across the world for you. So we need that backstory. We need more than just Beard After Hours. We are big Beard fans here because we live in Illinois, home of Brendan Hunt. So we love Coach Beard until the day we die. Speaking of which, I'm also drinking coffee during this because I'm a coffee guy all the time. Anybody else notice that the Polar Express becomes so much more relevant now because of Ted Lasso? Isn't that great? I love that is going on as we move forward here too. Second, Tedism. This was my pick for the Tedism of season 2. And now this isn't said by Ted, but it's something that's directly correlated to something that he did. And that is Keeley talking to Rebecca. And she says, you turn this panda into a lion. Guys, what was the reaction like at your house when that was said? Because it's such a great callback to really the first time we gather this group all together and to the photo shoot. And even the photo shoot where Rebecca is trying to make sure that they can break up the team over this photo shoot. But yet Keeley understands that relationship is so important. She's mentored her. She's built her up. And here we are. You turned this panda into a lion. I honestly, it just soul crushing when that happened because we heard yesterday the amazing story of women in Ted Lasso. And I think even as two guys, we can't fully understand how much that quote meant. But Jeremy, give me your thoughts on that particular quote.
Yeah, we also wanted to make sure we got Keeley and Rebecca in here because that relationship is just so fulfilling to watch. There's no, sitcoms and television and movies, they always try to pit two women against each other in almost every way. It's why I'm blanking on the Brechtel test, I think it is, where, you can find a movie where, women don't discuss a man for like a scene. It's considered like forward thinking. But these two, like, it shows a hard thing because I told you on the episode where we reviewed this, I had to do this. I had to go to a job that I really loved and tell them that I had a better opportunity after I'd been there for many years. And it is that tough. It is that tough because when you're in a place where you love to work, man, that hits you. And especially when you're with one of your best friends or your best friend, as these two are. And these two are just so strong and so well written. It was great to see them be that vulnerable.
We only have 2 minutes left because we don't want to run over on the rest of this panel. I wanted to throw in, we don't even really need to comment on this. I wanted to throw in an honorable mention before we get to the last Tedism. And that is a Tedism that isn't spoken. And that is the hug that Roy Kent gives to Jamie Tart in the episode Man City in the second season. It's just, there's so much built up emotion. There's so much that has happened to that point to get those characters to where they need to be. That's my honorable mention for Tedism that isn't even spoken. But of course, and I'm not even going to read the whole thing because, in fact, I'm not going to read any of it only because you all know how to recite it in your heads and we're running low on time. But the dart scene is, of course, our number one Tedism. That monologue that Jason gives in such a perfect way to be able to establish this character that we've come to love over those first 10 episodes or so, and just is able to put it all into one monologue of it's just incredible, right, Jer?
Yeah, no, it's that whole scene where he's just undressing Rupert in like the nicest way possible while also beating his ass at darts is just so satisfying and so life affirming too. Using Walt Whitman, be curious, not judgmental. And the fact that he says barbecue sauce at the end right before it, it just kills me every single time because it's his happy spot. It's what he does to center himself. Just amazing stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Chris.
Hey,
What's up,
guys.
man?
Hey, guys. And I appreciated your walking back and forth. It's always nice to feel welcome. I appreciate you guys' bearded lifestyle. That's also good.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Again, huge thanks. We got to have you guys come and do a live taping of PB&B next for LassoCon2.
Absolutely. That's great. And, anybody that's out there and they've listened to us, we so appreciate you. It's been an incredible couple of months. We just started this in July, and the response has been more than we could have ever hoped or asked for. And just thank you, seriously, from the bottom of both of our hearts. We love you all, and we appreciate you so, so much.
But heaven knows